Hi, welcome. My name's Candice and we're going to take a yoga practice together now. And this yoga class is a collaboration with My Oppo, which is a community organisation aimed at helping families of those suffering with PTSD. So the idea of today's yoga class is to have a yoga class that is accessible for most people. It will be quite a relaxing yoga class. If, however, you have any health issues, any recurring health issues, please do ask your GP to check that you are okay to be practicing yoga. So anything like high blood pressure, heart condition, that sort of thing, or if you are pregnant. So if in doubt, check with your GP. So the benefits of yoga are wide ranging. So just to mention a few, I'll mention the benefits of yoga for our mental health and well-being. So yoga, a regular yoga practice, research has shown that yoga helps to reduce anxiety. It improves our sleep, our quality of sleep, and our ability to get to sleep. It improves our mood, it decreases anger, it decreases symptoms of PTSD and other symptoms of other things as well. So the whole reasoning behind all of those great things is because yoga calms the nervous system. And how do we calm the nervous system? That is through breath focus and movement. So I would like you today to clear a space, so there's no chance of us relaxing and enjoying our yoga practice if we're in a chaotic environment. So clear yourself a space. You don't need a vast amount of space, enough space to place a mat down, and if you don't have the mat, don't worry about it. You can practice yoga without. So clear yourself to kind of a mat-sized space. Pop the kids or the pets in another room so long as they're supervised. And maybe put on a little bit of ambient music, maybe burn some incense or some candles, obviously make sure it's safe to do so. Yeah, and just turn the lighting down, just enjoy this time. This time is for you, okay? Everything else can wait until you have finished. So if you do have a yoga block, you may wish to use that today. A couple of cushions or something will do the job as well. So let's make a start. We're going to start in a comfortable seat. So you don't have to be comfortable cross-legged, just come into any seated position that is comfortable for you. So we're going to rest the hands onto the knees, and we'll just take a couple of moments here. We're going to close the eyes. We'll just allow a little tuck to the chin and feel like the crown of the head is floating up towards the sky. And just take a couple of breaths here. No right or wrong, just breathe a couple of breaths. And from there, I'd like you to gently flicker open the eyes. So we're going to stay in this comfortable seat. We're going to tuck the chin towards the chest. And as we tuck the chin towards the chest, just feel like the back of the skull is being lifted up towards the sky. Getting a nice stretch along the back of the neck here. Now we're going to lift the chin up towards the ceiling. Look up at the same time And just enjoy that little stretch through the front of the throat there. Now we'll look forwards. We're going to look over the right shoulder and then over the left shoulder. Once again over the right and then over the left. Okay, let's look forwards once again. We're going to tuck the chin once more. This time we're going to roll our right ear towards the right shoulder. So we've still got that little tuck to the chin. Come on back to centre so the chin still tucks, and then left ear to left shoulder. And then we'll take it over side to side. So it's like we're doing this semicircular move with the chin. And you might find as you go that you find some really tense, tight spots. Feel free to kind of linger in any sort of tight, tense spot. And then carry on with that movement, maybe stopping and lingering in another area. And then we're going to come all the way to centre. Okay, so if you're uncomfortable in your seated position, shuffle. Cross the legs in a different way, move around however you want. We're just going to be here a little moment longer. Keep the hands onto the knees. Now I'd like you to feel like you're drawing those shoulders forward. So we're opening through the shoulder blades at the back. Lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then draw the shoulders back so the shoulder blades squeeze together now, and then draw the shoulders down the back. We're going to continue that. Bringing the shoulders forward, so we're spreading the shoulder blades apart. Lifting the shoulders up towards the ears. Drawing the shoulders back so the shoulder blades come together. And drop the shoulder blades down the back. Let's do that a couple more times. There's really big rolls with the shoulders. Okay, last one. Okay, and when the shoulders roll back down the back, hold it there. We're going to bring our feet out in front of us. And we're going to come to lie on the back now. So you can grab a hold of the back of the thighs, roll yourself down to the mat, and then draw the knees into the chest. We're going to bring the hands onto the top of the shins. We're going to squeeze the knees in towards the chest. So let's move that with the breath now. So as we breathe in, just allow the knees to draw away as that belly fills. And as we breathe out, squeeze the knees back in. Breathing in, the knees draw away. This time, draw the knees towards the shoulders so the knees come wider. One more time, breathing in, allowing the knees to draw away, and breathing out, squeezing the knees in. Okay, from here, let's just pop the feet down to the mat. We're going to take the feet mat distance wide, or at least hip distance wide. Just take the arms out to the sides here, and we're going to sway the knees in one direction, then the other. And as we sway the knees, we're going to look in the opposite direction to the knees. It doesn't matter how far those knees drop to the floor, just so long as you're getting a little rotation to the spine, a little movement in the hips, that's all that matters. And then we'll come all the way to centre. Okay, so we're going to draw the knees back into the chest. We're going to cross the ankles and grab a hold of the feet. If you've got any spinal issues here, forget about the rolling up bit. If you don't fancy this bit, forget all about it. We're just going to roll forwards and backwards, holding onto the feet. So we're rolling from head to tail. And in a moment, we'll come all the way up to seated. Either rolling yourselves or pushing yourself up, however you wish to. So from there, we're going to pop on over to all fours. So we'll have the knees underneath the hips, the wrists underneath the shoulders, and we'll have the toes tucked here. So I'd like you now to draw the hips back towards the heels and extend the arms out. It doesn't matter how far back your hips come or how low down your hips come. You don't have to come all the way into this child's pose. Now the next time you inhale, I'd like you to lift to all fours, but keep the hands where they are. As you exhale, take it back to child's pose. Inhale back to all fours. And exhale, we're lifting the hips up, creating an inverted V shape. Inhale, dropping the knees to the floor. Exhaling back to child's pose. Inhaling to all fours. And exhale back to this inverted V. It doesn't matter what kind of shape you're getting here, that's just what you're aiming for. So let's continue, inhaling knees down and exhaling back to child's pose. Inhaling to all fours, exhaling to downward dog. So keep those knees nice and soft for me there. Let's do this one more time with your own breath. Feel free to go faster or slower than me. And when you get to your downward facing dog, just hold it there for a little moment or two. Keep those knees nice and soft, and we're going to walk on the spot. So bend one knee, draw the opposite heel down towards the floor. So we're keeping the arms straight, we're keeping the hips drawing up towards the ceiling and back towards the back of the room. Okay, then we're going to pop the knees back down to the floor. Keep the toes tucked for me, sit back onto the heels. If that's just horrible on the toes, don't worry about it, just untuck the toes. So we're going to bring the hands onto the hips. We're going to stay in this upright shape here, so shoulders above the hips. We're going to come all the way up to stand on the knees. Lovely. We're going to reach the arms up to the sky. Take a big in-breath as you lift the chest. Feel like you're drawing the shoulder blades together, reaching the arms back. Okay, as we exhale, bring the hands all the way down to the floor. Untuck the toes, come back to a child's pose, but as you do, take the knees really nice and wide. So wide knees, as wide as a mat, big toes together, and then we're going to come into that child's pose again. This time have the arms really extended out, fingers spread wide. And from there, we're going to reach the fingers as far away as we can. Lift the palm of the hand away from the floor, so we're onto the tips of the fingers. So we're making these little tented fingers here. And we can really reach through the fingers, really sink the chest down towards the floor. Again, it doesn't matter where your hips are. If the hips are higher, that doesn't matter. Just keep extending through the fingers and sinking the chest down, so long as that feels happy for you. If you experience any pain or severe discomfort in any of the postures, just don't do them. Just do something else. Modify it however you need to. Couple more breaths there. On your next inhale, we're going to place the hands down, lift on up to all fours, bring the knees together. We're going to tuck the toes, sit back onto the heels again, so that our shoulders stack above the hips. And we're going to have the hands onto the hips, come to stand up. So we're trying not to lead with the chest, we're trying to lift on up from the shoulders. And then we'll reach the arms up to the sky. Open through the chest, reach up through the fingers. And then we'll bring the hands back down to the floor into all fours. And lift on up into that downward facing dog again, that inverted V shape. And we're going to walk on the spot one more time. Now we're going to walk the feet to the top of the mat. And when we get there, we're going to keep the feet nice and wide, at least hip distance wide. Have the knees as soft as you like. We're draping the ribs down towards the thighs. Please have a little bend in your knees at least. We're going to grab a hold of the elbows. Allow the head, the neck, the shoulders to really release and relax here. Taking any little kind of movement here that you wish. If you have low blood pressure, please don't feel if you don't want to stay here, please don't. And we'll release the elbows, we'll roll on all the way to stand. When we get to stand, we're going to reach the arms up to the sky. Good, lovely. And just reach on up, reach up through the fingers. And then pop the hands to the sides. Okay, couple more shoulder rolls there. Okay, so let's keep those feet quite wide, but about hip distance wide. So from here we're going to bend the knees and we're going to come into this kind of chair position. We're going to reach the arms just straight out in front of us, about shoulder height. So just sit as low as you're comfortable to go, whilst you can still maintain a neutral spine here. So from here, what I'd like you to do is bring your right hand to the outer edge of your left leg. Other hand wraps around the back here. So we're taking this little twist. So our left shoulder draws back and our right hand slides down the leg as far as we're comfortable to. And then we're going to bring the hands in front of us, reach the arms up as we come to stand. And then sit back into that chair, taking it to the other side. So left hand to right leg, other hand wraps around behind us. Draw that right shoulder back, left hand slides down. And then we'll come on back to centre. Inhale all the way up to stand. Exhale over into our chair twist, maybe sitting a little bit deeper this time. Inhaling, reaching up, going in the other direction, twisting the other way. One more time each direction. So reach the arms up as you come to stand and come to that twist. Inhale, arms up, twist in the other direction. Inhale, arms up, and then we'll just bring the hands to the sides. Okay, so we're going to keep those feet at least hip distance wide. You're welcome to take them wider and turn the toes out wider than the heels if you wish. So we're going to reach the arms out to the sides, bend the elbows. We're going to bring right elbow on top of left. So we're either going to stay here, hands come to the shoulders, or if you're able to, without those elbows coming away from each other, bring the hands together. Okay, so from there, we're going to bend the knees. This time it's not too much about the chair pose. Try and stay pretty upright and just bend the knees sitting down towards a squat pose. And then come on up to stand, reach the arms out, bend the elbows, left elbow comes underneath right, bend the knees, come towards that squat pose. We're going to do that a few more times, so we'll speed it up, reach the arms out to the side, right arm underneath left, sit down into our squat, maybe a little lower. Inhaling up, opening the arms, taking our eagle arms in the other direction, sitting down. You've got the idea. Let's do that one more time. Arms out. Eagle arms, sit down towards your squat, as low as you're happy to go. Inhale up, reach the arms out. Eagle arms in the other direction, sit into your squat. Come on, all the way up, arms come out to the sides, bring the hands together, in front of you. We're going to go for one more squat. So do not worry if your heels raise off the floor. Do not worry if your bottom's much higher than mine away from the floor, it doesn't matter. If your arms have come to the inside of your knees, brilliant. You may be able to draw the knees out a little bit wider by keeping the hands pushing together, pulling the hands down towards the floor. Elbows go wide. So that just brings us a little bit higher into our the length of our spine into the squat. Okay, and from there we'll come on all the way to stand. All right, so I'd like you to turn to the wide edge of your mat, taking the feet as wide as you feel comfortable with. Let's have the toes ever so slightly turned in from the heels. So what I'd like you to do here is bring the hands onto the hips. We're going to keep grounding down through the outer edge of the feet, so the arches are slightly lifted of the feet. Hands stay onto the hips. We're going to hinge at the hips here, so that we're now looking down towards the floor. Just stop about halfway. Allow the weight to shift forwards in towards the big toes. We're allowing the hips to lift up towards the sky, even though we're bringing the weight in towards the big toes. Hold it here halfway. We're going to bring our right hand down to the floor. You may well need to bend your knees to get here. That's absolutely fine. We're going to lift left arm up towards the sky. Let's look up towards that left hand. Keep that weight shifted in towards the big toes. And then we're going to swap that over to the other side. So left hand comes down, right hand reaches up. Bring the hand down towards the floor. I'd like you now to bend the knees ever so slightly, ground down through the feet so you can come on all the way up. And we're going to draw the heels in slightly from the toes this time. Bring the hands to the top of the thighs here or onto the hips. We're going to bend the knees, allowing the weight to shift down. So we're allowing our weight to feel heavy down, but we're going to ground down through the heels and lift, float up through the crown of the head. So don't worry if you're leaning forwards a little bit here. Anywhere between upright, leaning forwards, whatever feels comfortable for you. And from here, we're going to do these little pulses up and down. Keep that weight through the heels. And then we're going to stand all the way up, parallel the feet. Reach the arms out. I'd like you to really draw everything away from the centre. Fingertips reach away from each other, grounding down through the outer edge of the feet. Crown of the head floats up, grounding down through the feet, drawing everything away from centre. And then let's bring the hands onto the hips once again. Okay, so toes turn in slightly from the heels. Legs are as straight as feels comfortable for us. We're hinging at the hips once more. Allowing the hips to keep lifting up towards the sky. The weight shifts in towards the big toes. Let's bring both hands down to the floor here. So I'd like you to stay here. Or if you're happy to, we're going to allow the head to drop a little bit closer towards the floor. Maybe the hands might want to go a little bit wider. Just don't feel like you're taking the weight into the hands. The weight's coming through the big toes. The head drops down towards the floor. The hips lift up towards the sky. And then on an in-breath, lift it back up. Bend those knees slightly so we can come all the way up. We're going to draw the heels in a little bit from the toes. We're going to reach the arms out. We're going to bend the knees, bend the elbows and sit down into this goddess squat. So we're going to just shimmy the hips side to side. So we're adding a little bit of movement here. Good. And then let's ground down through the feet once again. Reach the arms out, parallel those feet. So we're drawing everything away from centre again, trying to make our star as big as possible. And then from there, just pop the hands to the sides, shuffle the feet in for me. Okay, so we're going to step to the top of the mat. Good. All right, so from here, let's bring the hands to the heart. Keep those knees nice and soft. We're going to fold it forwards. And we're going to bring the hands all the way down to the floor. Take a few moments there in a forward fold. Really nice, soft knees. And then from there, we're going to make our way to seated. So you may be happy to sit down into a squat and then bring the bottom to the floor. Use the hands as much as you need to. Okay, so when we get to the floor, I'd like you to roll down onto the back. We're going to bring the knees into the chest. So we're going to extend the legs up towards the sky here. And we're going to take the feet wide. So I'm just going to change my angle a little bit. So we're going to take the feet wide. We're going to keep the toes flexed. So arms are going to be out to the side, so not at shoulder height, just a little bit lower, just for balance here. And then we're going to cross the legs. So let's go for right leg in front of left, and then bend the knees and try and draw the feet as wide as possible away from each other. And then straighten out the legs, take the legs out to the side, and we're going to swap them in the other direction. So left knee on top of right, then bend the knees. Feet can draw away from each other. And carry on with that movement. But as you go, I'd like you to keep your lower back flat to the mat. So if you've got an arch in your lower back here, I'd like you to try and flatten it. And you're more than welcome to have the hands at the back of the legs to help you here. Let's do that one more time, each cross of the legs. And from there, we're going to bring the knees together, draw the knees into the chest. And we can take this little rock side to side here. Okay, so we're going to bring the feet back down to the floor. And from there, I'd like you to take the feet mat distance wide once again. We're going to open the arms out to the sides. We're going to sway the knees once more, left to right. Again, looking in the opposite direction to the knees. And the next time your knees drop over to the right hand side and you're looking towards the left hand, I'd like you to stay there. So feel free to close the eyes for a little moment or two here. And what you may wish to do here is to bring your right ankle onto the top of your left knee. So we're just weighting the leg down with the foot. And if that feels a little bit much for you, obviously, just don't do it. Just release the foot down to the floor. And then we're going to come back to centre. Just make sure those feet are still mat distance wide here. We're going to drop the knees over to the left, looking towards the right hand. And again, if you wish, you can bring that left ankle onto the top of the right knee just to weight it down. And then we're going to release the foot from the knee, draw the knees up to centre. Okay, so now we're going to have the feet about hip distance wide. I'd like you to make sure the feet are about underneath the knee, not touching the bottom here. I'd like them to be further away from the bottom. So hands come to the sides. We're going to ground down through the heels. As we breathe in, we're lifting the hips up towards the sky. And as we exhale, we're dropping the hips down to the floor. So don't worry about how high the hips go, just as long as you're grounding down through the heels and feeling like you're pushing the knees away from the shoulders and lifting through the chest. As we exhale, we lower down to the floor. So it's not about how high the hips go, it's about how strong and how long you feel in the torso. Exhaling lower. Inhaling to rise. Let's do one more rise and lower. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. And then we're going to take one more and hold it there. So inhale up. Hold it there. Don't hold the breath, just hold the posture. And we're going to interlace the fingers underneath the hips here if we can. And you may wish to draw the shoulders together. So the shoulder heads draw towards each other. That's creating a little bit of space in the centre of your back, in the centre of your upper back. Keep grounding down to the heels. Keep opening through the chest. So we want to be open at the top of the body. And take a couple of breaths here if that feels comfortable for you. Then we'll release the fingers. As we exhale, lower the hips all the way down to the floor. Good. And then we're going to draw the knees to the chest one more time. Feel free to rock side to side. And then we'll pop those feet back down, feet hip distance wide once more. We're going to bring our right ankle and rest it onto the left knee. Now I'd like to allow your right knee to draw away from the body as much as feels comfortable for you. So you'll feel a little movement in your right hip, a little strengthening in your right hip. Just hold it here so it's like that right knee's really heavy. And you're more than welcome to stay there, or we can draw that left knee in towards the chest. We may be able to thread the hands round that left thigh and take a hold of the back of the thigh. Otherwise, we'll just keep the hands rested down onto the floor. So this left knee keeps drawing in towards the body and the right knee is pushing away. We're not physically pushing it away with the hand, we're just trying to draw it away. And we're keeping the back flat to the mat still. So drawing that arch of the back flat into the floor. Take a couple of breaths here. And you're more than welcome to take some movement with this left leg if you wish. Maybe pointing and flexing the left toes. Keep that right knee drawing away. Maybe circling the ankle of that left leg. One direction, then the other. And then we'll bring that foot all the way to the floor. Okay, let's swap it on over. So we're going to bring left ankle onto right knee. Take a little moment really drawing that left knee away so it's really heavy, trying to be pulled away. And then we're going to draw a right knee in towards the chest. Grab a hold of the thigh if you can. If you can't, hands just rest to the floor. Keep those shoulders relaxed to the floor. Keep that left knee drawing away. Keep the mid and the lower back pushed into the mat. If you wish to bend and straighten that right leg, please do so. And you may wish to keep that leg straight, point and flex the toes. Circle the ankle, one direction, and then the other. And then we'll bend that knee. Pop the feet down to the floor. Lovely. Just take a little window wipers with the knees here. Okay, and from there I'd like you to straighten the legs out onto the mat. We're going to reach the arms above the head, extend fingers and toes away from each other. One last little thing from here involves a block. So if you have a block, grab it. If you don't worry about it. You can elevate your hips with a couple of cushions if you wish, or you can just keep the hips low on the floor. Just having the hips elevated just gives us an extra little stretch through the front of the hip. So what I'd like you to do here is have the hips raised by having your block or whatever it is just underneath your sacrum. So we've got sort of the tailbone hanging off the end here, but it's not on the bottom, it's on the lower back. So we're going to draw our right knee in towards the chest and extend left leg out. Now if this feels uncomfortable in any way, just get rid of the block altogether. So what we want here, we want a little bit of opposition here. We want to bring the right knee in by squeezing the right knee towards the chest and extending the left leg. Some of you may feel more of an extension by pushing away through the heels, or for me it's pointing the toes. So I'd like you to be feeling it here at the front of the hip. So extend the left leg and draw in the right knee. We're just going to hold it here for a couple of breaths. Okay, so just bend the extended leg, pop the right foot down, draw the left knee in, extend that right leg. So drawing the left knee in, extending right leg away, pointing or flexing the toes, so we're pushing either away through the heel or away through the toes. Taking a couple of breaths here. Okay, let's bend that extended leg, bring both feet down to the floor. Okay, little thing here if you have a block. If you don't have a block, please just bring the legs up a wall instead. So just pop the feet up a wall instead. Otherwise, just keep your lower back on a block, and I'd like you to just lift the feet away from the floor. We're keeping the lower back on the block at all times. If your bottom lifts up away from the floor, just keep softening it down so that we've got contact with the block all the time. So hands are rested to the sides. You may well be happy to straighten the legs, or if the hamstrings are tight, the knees can be as bent as you like. So from there, you'll notice that your upper and mid back are flat onto the floor. You've still got contact with the block here, okay? So our legs are drawing towards the head maybe. If they're not, try bending the knees a little bit and you might find a little bit of comfort there. So if you're really happy here and this feels lush, just stay there. If it doesn't, pop the feet back down to the floor and just stay here for me in this supported bridge pose, okay? So your choice is just to stay here, which is lovely, or to stay here, which you might also find lovely. So really the idea here is that the weight of gravity is just giving us a little stretch of the back of the legs, and it's giving us a little inversion as well. So all those feel good hormones are rushing around the body now. Feel free to stay here for a couple of breaths longer. Feel free to pop the feet back down to the floor whenever you want to. Make sure you've still got contact with that block. So we've got our upper and our mid back in contact with the mat. Okay, so when you're ready, bend those knees, bring the feet down one at a time. And we're going to get rid of the block. Pop it down to the side, out of your way. And we're going to stay here in this position with the knees bent, feet flat down on the mat, arms rested to the sides, or we're going to rest the hands onto the belly here. And I'd like you to bring attention to your breath. So don't force or change the breath in any way, just stay where you are. Just notice how the body breathes. So we're breathing in and out through the nose, or breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So we want to breathe through the nose as much as we comfortably can. That's really important. The more we can breathe through the nose in any situation, not just in yoga, the better. If you haven't already done so, just close the eyes and keep that focus on the breath. And you may well have noticed that as you breathe in, you notice the lower abdomen expand. And as you breathe out, the abdomen relaxes down. You may also notice that each time you breathe in, not only does the front of your ribs and your abdomen move, the back of the ribs move also. So you may notice as you breathe in that the back of the ribs expands and pushes into the mat slightly. You may also notice that the ribs expand out to the sides. So as you breathe in, the ribs expand out, up and back. So the breathing in, really expanding in 3 directions. And breathing out, drawing back in, relaxing back in. Just take 1 or 2 more breaths there for me. And then I'd like you to just take your focus away from the breath for a moment. I'd like you to extend the legs out onto the mat. So we're lying flat onto the mat now. And in a few moments, I'm going to talk you through a tense and release exercise. So what's going to happen in a few moments, I'm going to count up from 1 to 10. And as I count up, I'd like you to tense the muscles in the body. So as I count up, you're going to get tenser and tenser, tighter and tighter. So you'll be squeezing the hands into fists, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears, squeezing the face, really tightening through the body. And then I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in, breathing out with a sigh and releasing all at once. Okay, so let's begin. 1, add a little tension. 2, A little more. 3, more tension. 4, 5, we're halfway to being tense all over. 6, 7, 8, 9, we're nearly there. 10, you're fully tense and tight all over the body. Take an in-breath. Exhale with a big sigh and release. And just take a few more moments there, enjoying that nice release of tension. Just seeing if you can allow your muscles to release a little bit more. Just allowing the muscles to soften, your body to feel heavy on the mat. Making sure your fingers have released and opened. The tension's released from the feet. The shoulders have relaxed away from the ears. And just take a couple more of those 3-dimensional breaths we just took. Breathing in through the expanding the ribs forwards, back and out to the sides. And breathing out, allowing them to contract back with each relaxing exhale. Taking a couple more of those 3-dimensional breaths. And just seeing if the body can relax a little bit deeper onto the mat with each exhale. One more breath there. And then I'd like you to just leave the attention on the breath behind and just bring your attention into your physical body. Just seeing how your physical body feels. Is there still any areas of tension or tightness that I need to release? Am I still feeling like I need to move a little bit maybe? Try moving a little bit, seeing if you can release those last bits of tension or tightness. And then just bring your attention into your mind, seeing how you feel emotionally right now. And whatever you're feeling, it's fine. Just go with it. And just see if you can use your breath just to release any last physical tension from the body, any mental tension from the body, any unwanted thoughts or emotions. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to add a little movement to the body as we start to wake up body and mind. We're going to start to wiggle through the fingers and toes, adding any kind of stretch or movement that you think your body requires. And then you can draw the knees into the chest and just take a little rock side to side there. Then I'd like you to roll all the way onto one side. And then just push yourself all the way up to seated whenever you're ready. And if you're not ready, you stay there. You're in the comfort of your own home. You stay there for as long as you like. And when you do come to sit up, whenever that may be, just gently flick it open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully I will see you again. In the meantime, practice this video as many times as you like. Contact me with any questions that you may have. And of course, contact the charity My Oppo with any questions or queries. And hopefully I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.